God that this music's got all of me. And when I fall, it'll always be that catching me. Standing tall with my head up, that's a guarantee. Prove I'm wrong until the end, I'm giving all of me. I swear to God that this music's got all of me. And when I fall, it'll always be that catching me. Standing tall with my head up, that's a guarantee. Prove I'm wrong until the end, I'm giving all of me. Turning out the heat, to light the torch, and pass it on to me. And honestly, I don't know what to think about these rappers not grasping the real meaning of rapping, not taking action, and like stories on beats. Now let's talk about your life, bruh. Where I came from in Temple, Tennessee, on the come up, searching for my exit ticket, so just listen, yeah, I'm trying to get in a position where I have to pay my stuff up and leave out, cause I got these dreams ready to live out. And these words I spit into the microphone is really how I feel deep down. Take a look into a Bible with a keyboard and notebook, and it's in the instant, how it turns out. It's a bet that it's 7 to 8 years you be yelling out. Everybody take a look at what we found. It's Jay Mason. I swear to God that this music's got all of me. But when I fall, it'll always be that catching me. Standing tall, put my head up, that's a guarantee. Prove I'm wrong until the end, I'm giving all of me. I swear to God that this music's got all of me. But when I fall, it'll always be that catching me. Standing tall, put my head up, that's a guarantee. Prove I'm wrong until the end, I'm giving all of me. Whole family addicted to pain, cause it's prescription. So how the hell can the evil begin? To judge me for this album hidden, nothing to hide. You can check me, you best believe that it's nothing hidden. What you see is what you get, baby. If you ain't speaking money, then don't speak to me. I'm trying to make a living without it being illegal. This music's all I wanna got, this is it for me. Still refusing the 9 to 5 begging groceries, addicted to my passion, keep a pen and pad with me. Truly believe that this is the gift God sent me. Through all the pain and the scars, I still don't show a feeling until I put them in my lyrics. Controlling where I go on the road. Just look at my spirit, let's get the show on the road. You know I got to tell it right along with your appearance. Show me the recording beat that's nearest. I swear to God that this music's got all of me. But when I fall, it'll always be that catching me. Standing tall, put my head up, that's a guarantee. Proof I'm wrong until they end up giving all of me. I swear to God that this music's got all of me. But when I fall, it'll always be that catching me. Standing tall, put my head up, that's a guarantee. Proof I'm wrong until they end up giving all of me. I'm in the studio, just vibing, please don't bother me. If you haven't followed me on Twitter, follow me. You've always had a heavy sway together properly. There's always somebody running around doing gossiping. Been around ain't all my life, I wanna drama free. I'm consecutive winner like an Obama speech. Trying to mark up all the spots that's on my bucket list to see how many goals I can reach. I'm in this. I swear to God that this music's got all of me. But when I fall, it'll always be that catching me. Standing tall, put my head up, that's a guarantee. Prove I'm wrong until the end, I'm giving all of me. I swear to God that this music's got all of me. But when I fall, it'll always be that catching me. Standing tall, put my head up, that's a guarantee. Prove I'm wrong until the end, I'm giving all of me. Seeing me, we in the building. Happy birthday, Kylie. Turn up.
Alright, y'all give it up for Jay Mason.
So today we're going to talk about Gulp 4, and I thought I'd visualize what it feels like to be in the JavaScript tooling ecosystem.
I'm not gonna lie, it's not the greatest intro to Gulp 4 right now.
What are you talking about? There's babies here. They're reminding us, you know, how great it is to upgrade to Babel 6 and worry about Webpack and be told that you have to rewrite your Gulp file into an npm script.
It sounds like Jake, yeah.
Although it's probably too late because Make is back in fashion.
No, it's not.
Today we're going to talk about Gulp 4. We've been using Gulp for a while over in our Web Starter Kit project, hitting up some ES 2015 in our Gulp file, and that's been fun. So before we talk about Gulp 4, we should probably talk about Gulp 3 and some of the problems that Gulp 4 tries to fix. So Gulp 3 would allow you to define a dependency to a task. So here we've got scripts and styles. And Gulp 3 just makes sure that the dependency tasks got executed before the original task got triggered. So we've got a default task. We're going to run our scripts and styles in parallel and then run the default task. Now, those tasks themselves could also have dependencies of their own. So you might want to make your scripts and styles, clean the original build directory, so you can start off on a really blank slate. Now, Gulp 3 was smart enough so that if it saw that clean was a dependency of two tasks, it would make sure that it was only executed once. So, you know, all of that work was only done once for maximum concurrency, which is kind of cool. But this approach had some problems. Execution of that dependency setup becomes a little bit mandatory once you've got it set up this way. It's tricky if you've got like watchers or file listeners that are going to be looking at one type of file, like your JavaScript, for example. Let's say you made changes to that and then it just blew away all of your style sheets and your dist directory. It's not exactly what you want. And it can be tricky to sequentially execute tasks unless you're using something like the run sequence plugin.
I think most people, whenever they have a gulp task, I'd be surprised if anyone got away with not having run sequence in it.
Yeah, run sequence was sort of a lifesaver for a while.
Yeah.
And using run sequence looks a little bit like that, but we're going to skip over it because you're here to care about gulp4. So, gulp4 drops the dependency parameter, the square brackets syntax completely, and it replaces them with execution functions that you can use instead. So, drum roll, tweet.
That's what you get.
We have no budget. Okay, so we now have gulp.series for sequential execution and gulp.parallel for parallel execution. And these let you have parameters, the name of the task to execute, another function to execute, so they're pretty flexible.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to go and start using gulp4 today, you're first of all going to want to uninstall your global gulp3 CLI and your local version of gulp, or just install gulp4 locally and use like your npm run scripts to run them instead if you wanted. Some people want to do that. Otherwise, just go and install gulp4 CLI globally and locally. These instructions are correct as of the time that we're recording this screencast.
Yeah, do the npm info gulp CLI. See if it's version 4. If it is, just install it and ignore these.
Yeah, hopefully by the time this comes out, gulp4 will either be stable and the community won't have replaced it with something totally different and it will still be relevant. But assuming that we are, taking a look at one of those lines we looked at earlier, if we want to execute styles and scripts in parallel, it's as simple as this. And if we wanted to rewrite some of those larger lines that we had earlier, they'd look a little bit like this. If we were going for maximum concurrency and replaced all of our dependency arrays with gulp.parallel. Does this look good, Matt?
Originally I said yes, but I can see your next slide, so I know it's not.
No, it's not. This is in fact wrong. It causes a ton of problems. So the dependency for our clean here is still hardwired in and actually gets called every time whether we call scripts or styles. Gulp4 doesn't do a dependency check here because they're not really dependencies. So your clean gets executed twice. Now, to get the original execution order, we want to do clean, then we want to run styles and scripts in parallel, and then our default task. And we can achieve that using this. So here, using a combo of gulp.series and gulp.parallel, we can first of all make sure that each step is done concurrently and combined in a gulp.parallel. And everything else can be done in a gulp.series function. So the execution order at default stays the same as before, but all of the other tasks can be used on their own, so you can run gulp scripts, gulp styles, and not be bound on those dependencies.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, this is where I kind of come back to the point, like it's super clear what's happening with that. Whereas before you could argue it's kind of by chance that gulp3 is doing the right thing. It's not explicit.
So we talked about run sequence a little bit earlier. If you want to move over from the old run sequence to the new gulp.series and gulp.parallel, here's one example of what that looks like. We're going to skip over that because there's actually some decent blog posts out that talk about moving over to gulp4. There's the fetblog.eu post that we cribbed some examples for, but these guys have actually got some really, really nice diagrams explaining the whole execution flow in gulp4 and comparing it to gulp3, so check that out. There's also the We Are Wizards migrating to gulp4 by example. They include like code diffs and stuff, which are kind of useful. It's kind of nice. So hopefully this video was useful, and if you follow their guidance, not our guidance, because our guidance probably sucks.
Yeah, you'd be broken with our guidance.
You'd be broken, like us. You too can be ballin' with gulp4.
Happy baby.
Yay.